According to Bank of America internal data, nearly a quarter of all households are living paycheck to paycheck. Yet luxury car sales hit record highs and designer brands saw explosive growth. We're in the middle of a massive contradiction. Everyone's trying to look wealthy while financial stress quietly destroys lives. The truth is, wealth in America has become a performance, an image people fight to maintain at enormous cost. Real millionaires blend into Target on a Tuesday. They drive practical cars, skip the logo obsession, and you'd never guess their net worth. The gap between appearing successful and being secure has never been wider. So here's the reality check. What if pretending you're richer than you are is quietly keeping you broke? The first reason looking poor matters is that it simplifies your financial life. Every possession you own costs more than its price tag. A luxury car isn't just a payment, it's premium insurance, expensive maintenance, and depreciation that outpaces most investment returns. Americans have mastered lifestyle inflation, where every raise gets absorbed by a nicer apartment, better car lease, or forgotten subscriptions. A $60,000 SUV actually consumes $90,000 over 5 years when you factor in financing, insurance, premium gas, and dealership repairs. That same money in an S&P 500 index fund historically doubles every decade. This is the Diderot effect. The 18th century philosopher received a beautiful robe as a gift, then replaced his entire study to match its elegance, ending up in debt. Buy a new iPhone and suddenly your laptop looks outdated. Upgrade your car and your apartment feels inadequate. It's psychological anchoring. Your brain recalibrates what normal means, and everything below that new standard feels like deprivation. Financial freedom isn't about earnings, it's about how little you need. When your lifestyle costs $3,000 monthly instead of $8,000, you buy options. You can take career risks, walk away from toxic jobs, negotiate from strength. This is financial runway. A low burn rate extends it indefinitely. Money pressure destroys decision quality. You take the wrong job because you need the paycheck. The FIRE movement proves this. Save 50% of income and you're potentially done in 15 years. Studies show most American millionaires drive used cars and avoid luxury brands. Thomas Stanley's research found the typical millionaire spends under $400 on suits. They've optimized for wealth preservation over wealth signaling. The second reason is simple. It's cheaper. The US economy runs on consumption. Roughly 70% of GDP comes from people buying things. This creates relentless pressure to spend. Marketing isn't just advertising anymore, it's psychological engineering. Companies employ behavioral scientists to design desire, manipulate scarcity, and create urgency where none exists. Your phone works fine, but the new model has a slightly better camera. Subscription creep is even more insidious. Streaming services, software, meal kits, fitness apps. Each one costs $10 or $15 monthly, collectively draining hundreds without conscious awareness. Buy now, pay later has normalized splitting purchases into installments, making $200 impulse buys feel like $50 decisions. We've built an infrastructure designed to separate you from money as efficiently as possible. Over 60% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency without going into debt. The median household has less than $5,000 in savings. Credit card balances are at all-time highs, with average interest rates exceeding 20%. We've confused income with wealth. Someone earning $150,000 annually, but spending $145,000 is functionally broke. One job loss away from collapse. Financial institutions profit from debt, retailers profit from spending, and nobody profits from your discipline except you. The average American spends roughly $200 monthly on non-essential purchases. Coffee shops, impulse buys, convenience spending. Redirect that into an index fund earning 8% annually, and you're looking at nearly $118,000 in 20 years. Increase it to $500 monthly, and that becomes over $295,000. Every dollar is a choice between immediate gratification and future freedom. Education returns compound similarly. A $2,000 course that increases your earning power by $10,000 annually pays for itself in 3 months, then generates returns forever. The wealthiest people view money fundamentally differently. Dollars aren't for spending, they're employees working on your behalf. Consumption destroys capital, investment multiplies it. This requires shifting from what can I buy to what can I build. Investing in skills, health, and earning capacity generates personal ROI that compounds across decades. You're not sacrificing by spending less, You're choosing long-term power over short-term pleasure. Before we go further, if you are enjoying this video so far, consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel and tells YouTube that you're interested in this kind of content. Now, let's continue. The third reason is that it attracts the right people into your life. The people around you shape your financial behavior more than you realize. Economists call it spending contagion. When your peer group upgrades their lifestyle, you feel pressure to match. Friend groups develop implicit spending norms. If everyone's ordering expensive dinners, splitting $200 tabs, booking luxury vacations, you either keep pace or risk feeling excluded. Your brain constantly benchmarks your status against those nearby. When your circle signals wealth through consumption, staying modest feels like falling behind. This is hardwired psychology being exploited by economic structures that profit from uniformity in spending. Group dynamics create financial coercion rarely discussed openly. Someone suggests an expensive restaurant, and suddenly you're spending 3 times your normal budget because saying no feels uncomfortable. Weddings, bachelor parties, group trips. These events carry expectation inflation. What was once a $500 weekend becomes a $2,000 obligation. Nobody wants to be the person who can't afford it, so people finance experiences they don't want to maintain relationships that might not survive honest financial boundaries. This is emotional spending under social pressure, and it destroys wealth quietly. When you stop performing wealth, something shifts. People attracted to your lifestyle disappear, and what remains are relationships built on actual values. Value-based connections don't require financial performance. They survive honesty about budgets, choices, and priorities. Authentic identity costs nothing to maintain. Performative identity demands constant investment. Financial boundaries are diagnostic. They reveal who's present for you versus who's present for what you provide or represent. Wealth signaling creates targets. Fraud, scams, and social engineering thrive on visible affluence. The person posting luxury purchases becomes a mark. Identity theft, targeted manipulation, even physical safety risks increase with financial visibility. Quiet wealth is protective. The wealthiest families understand this instinctively. They avoid attention, maintain privacy, and operate below the radar. Looking poor or simply unremarkable reduces risk across multiple dimensions while preserving optionality. The fourth reason is that you become genuinely happy with what you already have. Psychologists have studied lottery winners for decades, and the findings are consistent. Within months, their happiness returns to baseline. This is hedonic adaptation. Your brain adjusts to new circumstances remarkably fast. The initial dopamine hit from acquisition fades, and you're left chasing the next upgrade to recreate that feeling. Neuroscience explains why. Dopamine responds to novelty and anticipation, not sustained ownership. Your brain is wired to pursue, not to appreciate. This is why upgrades stop working. Research on life satisfaction reveals something counterintuitive. Gratitude correlates with happiness, far more than income beyond basic needs. Once you're above roughly $75,000 annually in most US markets, additional income produces marginal well-being gains. What matters is your psychological relationship with what you have. A scarcity mindset, always focusing on what's missing, creates perpetual dissatisfaction regardless of circumstances. A sufficiency mindset recognizes enough. Appreciation functions as a shield against manufactured desire. When you're genuinely content, marketing loses power. Experiences generate more lasting satisfaction than possessions. A dinner with friends, a camping trip, learning a new skill, these create memories and strengthen social bonds. Possessions provide temporary pleasure, then fade into background noise. What people regret at the end of life isn't what they didn't buy. It's experiences they postponed, relationships they neglected, and time they sacrificed for things that ultimately didn't matter. Health, purpose, autonomy, and connection drive well-being. Consumption doesn't appear on the list. Recognizing novelty addiction allows you to interrupt the pattern. Most spending is emotional regulation, boredom, stress, insecurity. Identifying triggers creates space for intentional choice. Designing a satisfaction baseline, knowing what genuinely improves your life versus what temporarily numbs discomfort, transforms consumption from autopilot to deliberate strategy. Lifestyle intentionality means every purchase serves a purpose aligned with actual values, not reflexive desires engineered by algorithms. And the fifth reason is that you'll need far less money to retire. Retirement math is simpler than the financial industry wants you to believe. The The 4% rule states you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually without running out of money. If you need $40,000 yearly to live, you need $1 million invested. Need $100,000 yearly? You need $2.5 million. Your spending baseline directly determines your freedom threshold. This is why lifestyle creep is so destructive. Every permanent expense increase pushes your retirement number higher. The FIRE community has proven that average Americans can retire in their 30s or 40s not by earning massive incomes, but by maintaining modest lifestyles while aggressively saving. A 50% savings rate on a $70,000 income beats a 10% savings rate on $200,000 every time. Americans carry over $1 trillion in credit card debt, with average interest rates exceeding 20%. This is negative investing. You're paying wealth backward. Every dollar in credit card interest is a dollar that could be compounding in your favor, instead compounding against you. The psychological burden is equally destructive. Debt creates stress, limits options, and forces you to keep working regardless of circumstances. High debt-to-income ratios trap people in jobs they hate, relationships they've outgrown, and cities they want to leave. Financial freedom becomes impossible when obligations consume income. There's a spectrum between dependence and independence. Most people work because they must. Bills demand it. Financial independence means work becomes optional. You might still work, but the motivation shifts from survival to purpose. Time ownership is the ultimate asset. When you control your hours, you control your life. A modest lifestyle accelerates this transition dramatically. The difference between needing $40,000 and needing $80,000 annually is potentially a decade of employment. Savings rate matters more than income growth. Earning more while spending proportionally more creates no progress. Frugality is leverage. It increases the gap between income and expenses, which is where wealth lives. Establishing a low baseline creates permanent advantage. Calculate your personal freedom number, the amount invested that makes work optional, and realize how achievable it becomes when you're not funding a lifestyle designed to impress strangers. Quiet wealth is a long-term competitive advantage most people never recognize. The power of invisible progress is that it compounds undisturbed. No social pressure, no comparison trap, no obligation to maintain an image. Real wealth doesn't announce itself. It sits quietly in index funds, growing year after year, while the spectacle of fake prosperity collapses under its own weight. Looking poor, or more accurately, looking unremarkable, isn't sacrifice, it's strategy. If you found this valuable, take a second to hit the like button. It really supports the channel. And if you want to keep watching more content on finance, investing, and building real wealth, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.